Alright, so welcome. This is a Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light speedrun walkthrough. I'm Brassmaster. I have the record for single player, anyway, for the game, for the fastest times on console. For PC, Fatalist has a little bit faster times. I don't think sub 22 has happened, but it's pretty close. He's beaten most of my times. There's a couple levels I can go back and improve upon. But there was a small handful of people that wanted to learn the game and learn how to speedrun it and have asked for a walkthrough. And I had made one in the past, but since Fatalist came through and kind of redid a lot of stuff, there's a few extra strategies now that will certainly save some time, especially for single segment runs, which is what people are interested in. So I decided to go ahead and do this walkthrough for everybody. So here we go. So starting with costume, you can really just put on whatever costume you want. I'm used to the default, so I'm just going to leave it there. And so we'll start from the beginning. But I want to talk about weapons first. But first off, in this cutscene, aside from hitting B, you can change to these two weapons. So for me it's on A and X, so you just hold left trigger and press the button. You can also use the D-pad to alter your weapon as well. So you want to change it to your rocket launcher, or sorry, not rocket launcher, grenade launcher, excuse me. And so the weapons that you want to have, for Y, you're guaranteed the spear that's always going to be there. You can't alter this. On co-op as Lara you can, but I'm doing this walkthrough for single player, so you can't alter this. One of X, B, or A, one of those needs to be the light spear. So for me, I just have it on B. Another one needs to be the heavy grenade launcher. The heavy, not just the regular grenade launcher, but the heavy grenade launcher. There's one specific spot that comes into play. And yeah, like I said, it has to be the heavy. If you have like a full relic meter, it's possible maybe to do it the regular one, but just use the heavy. And then your last weapon is really just a weapon of choice. I use the golden shotgun because it has a nice wide spread and just one pellet will kill the enemies that I need. The other option that you could use for this that has the potential of saving a couple seconds is the railgun. But the only way the railgun is going to be useful is if you have a full relic meter with scatter shot. So speaking of relics and artifacts, the two artifacts that you want are the Jade Hearts. The relic you want is the Mask of Zolot. It's kind of obvious that that's what you want. The relic doesn't come into play at all in a speedrun until the final level, which is where having the railgun would actually come in handy because of the scatter shot. And so that's really all you need with the relic. So I mean, if you want whichever one, okay, the arrow of, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, gives you scatter shot. Like, that's all that you really need if you're going to use a relic because of the final level. But for the other ones, for the most part, for these, you just need the speed +1. But if you beat the game 100%, might as well just put on all three of these. They're the final ones that give you +1 to everything. Alright, so now starting the level. So during that opening cutscene, you want to switch to your heavy grenade launcher so that this is ready to go. And so you're going to start right here and then come up here. And you're going to step on this lion's head. I don't know why I said lion. I don't know what the hell to call this thing. But you step on here, you aim up and a little bit to your left, and you fire that so that it blows those things up and it raises you up here. This takes a second of practice to get, but it's not too bad. And then from here, you want to get on top of this gate, and what you do is you do what we call a bomb boost. I think in the game they call them grenades, but this is a grenade launcher, so to differentiate it, we just call it bombs. So you want to get up onto the gate, so we're going to jump to the left and double tap Y, or whatever your bomb button is. And for the most part, this is what's going to happen to you, is that you're going to fall down like this. So it's good to just get some practice with it. And especially for single segment runs, since this is right at the beginning, it's not too terrible. Skip that cutscene, switch to your rocket launcher. Now this is a glitch that happens. You see that she has the light spear on her back, but she actually has the heavy launcher equipped. If you just press aim, which is the right stick on console, it gets rid of it. So yeah, once you're up here. Now, some people have said that if you get further up, it ends up raising her up a little bit, so that might make this easier. I've actually never tried it, and it kind of failed for me there. So that's an idea. Just experiment with what works for you. I'm going to try to do this full speed, because I find that if I try to take my time, I always fail it. So, and you need to wait a second anyway. Wow, I'm actually shocked that failed. You need to wait a second anyway once you get to the top, because you can see the thing kind of bounces a little bit, and you need to be as high as possible. Now, getting directly on top of the gate is possible and is the best thing to do, but if you can't get that, the other option is jumping into the corner where the gate meets the right pillar, like straight up from me, except on the other side, so over here. If you can make the jump over to here, which that's an interesting glitch, you can actually jump out of that. And I didn't for that case, just to show you where it was at. And if you do that, that's a little bit more consistent of a jump to get. Wow, okay. I like how when you try to do like a walkthrough and say things are consistent and pretty easy, that you fail it like every time. So it'd be nice to get out of this intro. Be careful when you fire that sometimes you get a little bit of a knockback. You can lay a nade down at the bottom, or lay a bomb on the floor, jump onto this thing, jump and detonate it. That way you stay directly above this thing and you don't get the knockback from the explosion. So, really? I promise you this is not all that hard. But again, it's right at the beginning of the game, so even if it really was that difficult, it's really worth it to try to get. There we go. So you do that and you jump over. And now you can get directly on top of the gate, which would be about a second and a second and a half faster. So coming up here, I'm going to do it first. So right there, as you noticed, I didn't stop rolling, but I still managed to bomb all of these. So if you lay a bomb and explode it, you get this knockback, which prevents you from moving, and that's going to come into play later. It's actually what happened down there when I did the bomb boost over the gate. But if you're in mid-roll and double tap Y, you take the damage, but since she's rolling, you don't get the knockback. So in that case, what you're doing is you're just going to roll and double tap Y. I kind of claw the controller, put it down on my lap for the right side, and use use 2 fingers to do it. Now, going up to that door, I roll into it 5 times, which just gives me the timing to know when to jump to get through the door. The next thing here is a little bit tricky. I'm going to roll forward onto the switch, jump from the switch onto the falling door. As the door is falling down, I'm going to throw a spear. So, in the previous room, I would have switched to having the spear equipped before coming in here. But roll, jump, and throw a spear like that. That's what it looks like in full speed. But while this door is falling, so I jump from this switch onto the door itself and then throw a spear. And once you land, you kind of roll and then do a jump, and she auto jumps onto the spear. Now, this game has auto jumps, which is really nice and a pain in the ass at the same time. The other option that some people do is you get up on top of all this stuff here, which, as you can see, I'm having a little bit of trouble with it. But if you get on top of this spot right here, you can jump straight up to climb up. But I think that that's slower, because if you throw the spear and then do a jump onto it, when she does an auto jump like that, it's a little bit faster than a standard jump, and then you could just jump straight up. So typically your health's going to be a little bit higher, so I'm just going to go ahead and grab some health here. Throw a spear somewhere around there, and you're supposed to jump away from the wall. And then you can get up. Now, with this switch, there's a very small window to where you can actually jump off of it. So if you get that jump, you want to jump straight down to here. And then after the cutscene, you start rolling. So that's what makes the bomb boost across the gap not worth it, as some people do. At least in my opinion. This next room is pretty straightforward. Pull this piston. Since it's a time thing, I'm just going to show you first. You're going to want to throw a spear in this direction through the door like this after you pull the piston. The reason being, she's going to auto-aim towards enemies for her spear throws. So try to throw it through the door before the enemies spawn. And just throw the spear on the wall from back there, and it's easy enough. And you can ignore these arrow traps. They're not going to do anything to you. Alright, so this next room, you're supposed to grab the 2 balls that are up there and put them on these platforms here. Not something that you really need need to do though, because we get to do some cool stuff. Now you have 2 options here. This is the option that I like best, so I'm going to place the spear first. You want to throw the spear to the center of that pillar. And the ideal location is, let's see if I can get the right spot. It's a very, very picky spot. It's in between those 2, geez. But it doesn't, like, that would be ideal to make this the quickest, but we're talking fractions of a second here. But as you see, the further left you aim, the further down it is. That's going to make it more difficult. So you want to have it up a bit, and I just threw a really bad spear. So that second spear that I placed is okay. Your other option is to lay a bomb right here and then detonate the bomb as you're climbing onto the ball. But as you see, I just tried to do it there and it didn't really work. Trying to get the climbing animation for that ball, for me at least, is difficult. But if you place this left spear there, what we're going to do now is jump to the left to the center of the pillar that I just threw the spear on. And at the peak of her jump, tap your grapple button. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to get up on top of here. So what happens when you jump and you do your grapple, and I mean just tap it, like tap and let go, you don't hold it. What this does is it repositions her feet a little bit higher. Now the lower your frame rate, the easier this is going to be. So on PC this is a bit more difficult, and on PS3 this is a little bit more difficult. Although it's still possible, it's a lot tighter of a window. On Xbox it's easy as can be. So now that we're on top of here, we're going to run this way. There's an invisible wall in front of us, so you have 3 options of what you can do. You can jump and do the grapple method, but this is a little bit higher, so the timing window for it is really, really tight. There it is. The other option is laying a spear either on the wall there or right in front of you. And the option that I do for SS runs is I jump and I do a bomb boost, which pushes you up here. All 3 are options that you can do. I would not recommend doing a spear because it takes the time of throwing a spear and then jumping onto it and jumping up. So I would recommend doing the bomb boost. Fall down here and then just hug the wall so that you can get up here. So now you're on top of the gate door that you're trying to open. And we're going to go forward. Now if you just run forward, you're going to fall and die, so you need to roll forward. And if you get far enough, you won't die from the fall damage. However, if you get a little bit nervous that you might die, just bomb boost before you land, like that. That'll give you a little bit forward momentum and it resets her fall distance. But once you're across here, easy enough, we're done. For this room, just jump, grapple, jump. Easy enough. Now, another option, if you can do this, this trick is more useful in co-op. If you run and do that. So what I'm doing is I'm jumping, grappling, letting go of grapple, and you have a very short amount of time to jump again. And if you do it just right for this, you can actually cross this without having to climb up. And I've done this once, so I'm going to try it a couple times to get it. I'm getting the second jump, so you may have to actually jump twice, I don't know. But I'm not good at this trick, so if I ever get a co-op partner, I'm making them be Lara so that they do the trick, and not me. And, oops, I just died trying it. So if you can get that down, I think that has the potential of saving an extra quarter of a second, but otherwise, just jump, run across the wall, and jump up. Alright, so This next room is kind of difficult to get perfect. Put this ball over here and lay a bomb about there. And the reason we're doing this is we're going to try to bomb the ball onto the other switch. And so we need to be relatively quick about it. Detonate it as soon as you get across the platform. What did I die from? That was interesting. But anyway, halfway pulling the piston, you can detonate your bomb to save a little bit of time. I usually place the bomb in the corner there. And usually that... Okay, cool. So I can show you ideally what happens. So if you get it onto that, this is what it's supposed to look like. You just come over and do this. Now, if the ball misses, you're just going to come up here, place it on the switch, and then follow the flame things around here. Then you can pull this. Alright, so this next area, the best thing to do is just run straight forward, grapple, and get up, which is the intended solution. The other option that you have, you don't need to blow those things up to do this, but it's just easier to show. There is another grapple point that's off the screen, straight above that spear. And with it up there, you can actually jump and grapple onto it, which I ended up jumping onto the spear, which cancels the grapple. But you can grapple onto that, run across this wall, and jump over. That's faster, but it's far more difficult to do. So I would just run straight forward, grapple onto this, and run up the wall. Either way, lay a bomb and throw a spear at the switch, and the bomb just needs to be able to hit the switch. Detonate the bomb as you're going through this door, because the next spot, detonating that switch switches the doors whether they're open or closed. And we want that second door to be open enough that we can get through. So to kind of show you in full speed what you're doing is you throw a spear, run through, detonate that early. I usually jump through the door, but if you get it early enough, you could just roll through. Skip the cutscenes, obviously, and keep rolling. Alright, so in this last room, pull this piston, and you can jump straight to the second spot. From the end, though, I would go to the last platform instead of jumping straight over, even though you can, because you can start rolling a lot quicker. And for the final area, you just need to work out timing. As soon as the wheels start turning, that means you can get on top of the next platform. This last one, you need to wait for it to start rolling just a little bit before you can grapple onto the top. And go forward straight to the end, and that's it with the first level. Ideally, your time for this is going to be low, just over 3 minutes. Probably between 3:10 and 3:20 would be the fastest time that you'd want to get for an SS run. Record time is 2:39 by me. But that was doing this level segmented, which means resetting at every checkpoint. When you reload a checkpoint, you can move Lara just a little bit before the timer starts, so you can save a little bit of time. It's mostly apparent in that first level. The rest of the levels, it's not as useful. So this next level is very interesting. This trick to get the end is very difficult, but it's actually worth it, because if you fail it a handful of times, you still can save time. So right here, to get across this gap, you want to do a bomb boost. Now the bomb boost for this is actually kind of difficult, because she'll try to do an auto jump down to the platform below. And once you do this enough times, you can see the difference between the auto jump to go the auto short jump or the regular long jump. If she does the long jump, double tap Y to bomb boost across. Otherwise, just let yourself fall to the platform down below, lay down a spear, and hop up. And there's really no way to manipulate it. Now we're supposed to go around the level collecting 3 sun discs. That takes about 2 minutes 50 seconds to 3 minutes. But there's actually a way to trigger the ending cutscene a little bit quicker, and you have 2 options. And the way I would recommend is going up this way, laying a bomb about there, run up the stairs a little bit to trigger a ball coming down, and detonate the bomb at just the right time so that the ball comes straight down. I did it a hair early that time, but it's, you know, not that big of a deal. Just grab it and push it. Now we're going to bring the ball up to the exit, so you push it slightly up, detonate a bomb so that it goes up the staircase. Now you need to be relatively quick because you have enemies here. Lay a bomb, pull this back a little bit, and do that. That's what it looks like in full speed. So when you have enemies after you like that, you have to do it quick. So now I'm going to restart the level, do it again so I can explain exactly what just happened. I probably should have done it the other way, but since conditions were just too perfect, I had to go for it. And notice how I got less than 2 minutes on that, so I did that over a minute faster than going around and getting the sun discs. And that was with me explaining the first jump. So that just shows you how useful this is. Now these two guys can sometimes hit you like little jerks. If that happens, most likely you're going to get the auto jump down, but it's not the biggest of deals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and grab the other ball because less enemies spawn. If you get the one that I did just a second ago, more enemies spawn, so you have to be quicker. So I would recommend starting with this ball, grab it, and try to get it at a downward angle so that you can boost it here. Then when you grab it, you do another bomb boost up this way, which puts it right in the center of where you want it. And just as before, bomb it up. But now I'm going to take care of all these enemies so I can explain what's going on. Alright. So, oh, that's kind of cool. Put the ball in the corner for me. Alright, so what we're going to do is during this climbing animation, we're going to detonate 2 bombs. So lay a bomb, put the ball in the corner, put a bomb down, pull the ball back just a little bit. This will give the ball just a little bit more height. You can do this with only 1 bomb, but it's easier with 2. And once you lay a bomb, you need to wait 3 seconds. There's a 3-second cooldown between times that you can lay down bombs, but you can only have 1 at a time since it's keyed to the same button. So if I press Y again, it's going to detonate a bomb. But after I detonate this one, since it's been 3 seconds, if I lay another bomb, if I press Y again, it'll lay another bomb, and if I press Y a 3rd time, it'll detonate that. So during this climbing animation, I'm going to press Y 3 times, but pretty much just press it as fast as you can to make sure that all 3 register. And while she's climbing up, she doesn't take the knockback from the bombs, so she can actually ride the ball up. And you just need to find the right spot for you to get her to do that climbing animation. And once you get to the peak of the jump, or which is pretty much after she's on top of the ball and done with her climbing animation, jump over the door and you'll land in the exit. And see, even with me explaining all that, I still finished this faster than going around. And so it's really worth it to do that. Alright, so now we're on to Spider Tomb. To skip this first fight, you do a bomb boost, which very, very rarely will she do a short jump so that you can't bomb boost over. But it's easy enough, and once you're over here, the spiders will ignore you. For this next spot, you have 2 options. You can come here and jump straight up into the corner of the the platform below, but it's a little bit faster if you come over here and do a late bomb boost to land on the platform. Alright, so the next thing is we need to pull this thing down. That's just part of the standard mission, and it's going to extend the bridge down below. And once you jump onto this, if you mash your jump button, she'll actually climb up to the top of this thing during the cutscene. And it really is helpful, so that's what it looks like. It's not very difficult, and if you miss it, it's not that big of a deal, but it doesn't cost any time to go for it. And if you get it on this first one, you can jump off this platform and you get this text box while you're in midair. So once you get this, you can actually mash A. Other times when you get text boxes like that, you want to be careful mashing A because you might jump out of it, and that'll cost you a little bit of time. So at least with this one, it's in midair. And so once you land, you can start rolling. Now this next fight has a fight skip. There's a fire pit, and the reason I paused is because of enemies. But there's enemies in here, so what you want to do is throw a spear on this pillar. You have a little bit of time, actually, as you can see how long it takes for them to come here. But jump up on top of this pillar, and from here, there is an invisible wall on the other side of the fire pit, so you don't want to fall straight down. You actually want to jump, and when you jump, you'll actually see her get stopped a little bit on the invisible wall before she actually gets across. But if you do fail and fall in between the fire pit and the invisible wall, you can actually roll back through the fire and not die. And then you can jump on the spear and try it again. But, I mean, it's really easy to get over it. It's not very difficult. Now, potentially, if you can get a hole-in-one with this ball into that fire pit, that will be faster than what I'm about to do. Not by much, but it would look totally swag if you get it. But I would just recommend come up here. I think there's like an ammo upgrade or something up here. But when you come up here, there's a railing right here that prevents you from going around it. But if you come down to this corner, you can walk. You can actually walk forward. So from here, I'm going to jump straight down. There is a platform there that I can land on without dying. If I jump like too far to the right, I'm going to fall down and die. So if you just jump straight down, as a matter of fact, if you jump too far straight down, you're going to jump to the and die like that. Also, it's not worth going for the hole-in-one unless you know for a fact that you're going to get it. So that's what it looks like to do that skip. Pretty straightforward. Now we come up to these things again. Again, you want to mash A or your jump button to climb. And that extends the bridge a second time. No text box this time though. Jump through the door. Now anytime you're going to be falling down something, wait until you get to the edge a little bit and do a roll, because that'll get you further down than just falling. Step on the switch, come down here. Now we're gonna get to the staircase that's kind of that's to the left side of the screen, and you can do it from up here, but it's a little bit of a tighter window, so I'd recommend just falling down here, jumping to the left, and try to fall as close to this shadow. It's kind of hard to show you, this shadow right here. Now about halfway down from the shadow to the bottom, throw a spear against the wall, and this will allow you to jump up to. Wow, I was actually a little bit too high. Go me. And if you do that, that's not a problem. Just throw another spear down, then jump up to it. Hold up and left, jump up onto this. Now here's the next spot that's easier if you do it all in one sequence rather than one at a time. I need to jump onto this first pillar, then to the second one, then we're going to bomb boost onto the bridge. And this just takes a little bit of practice to get it consistent. I hold up and left, and then I tap back to stop her forward momentum for both these first jumps, and then at the end I just hold up and left and I do a late bomb boost close to the bridge just to ensure that I make it across. Again, this takes more practice than me just explaining exactly what you do, and that was really weird. She jumped further to the right than normal, or sorry, further to the left, but you could always retry it like that, and it's a little bit more consistent than I ever thought it was, because when I initially started doing SS runs, it was really difficult. Now, you can bomb underneath that spike roller thing, But if you have a hard time getting a bomb placement since the bridge is only extended twice, you can hang off the edge of the collapsing bridge. But once you get that, it's done. But that final jump does take a little bit of time to get right. The summoning is the shortest level of the game. This spot you need the light spear. So equip that while you're rolling up, and then we're gonna do that, which is the rapid fire glitch, which is pretty much console only. And I'll do this level a couple of times to explain it. So let's restart the level. So the rapid fire for console controls, you're going to hold the right trigger, which is R2 on PS3, or just right trigger for Xbox. And then we're going to mash the stick. And so what I mean by mashing the stick is pressing it in a direction, letting it reset, and then throwing it again. So if I hold a direction, this is as fast as she is supposed to throw spears. But if I let the stick reset, I can throw spears even faster. And if I do it really fast, I can get her to actually rapid fire like that. And that's what we want to do for this level, and it comes into play in another level. And with that, I can with that, it's possible to get 6 seconds on this level on console. On PC, there's a slightly different method that doesn't use the rapid fire, and with that you can get 7 seconds. But even on console, you have to get a really good rapid fire to get 6 seconds. 7 seconds is a really good time for an SS run. The timing for the rapid fire just takes a little bit of time to get used to it, but once you're used to it, it's not too bad. Now, Forgotten Gate, we're supposed to grab a bunch of balls and throw them on these platforms, and people have found ways to do this with fewer and fewer balls. So there actually is a total number of balls that you can put on every single platform here to open up the gate. But you can actually do it with one less and have Lara stand on one. You can even do it with one fewer than that and using a grenade to explode on one of the platforms that'll push it down. So some people have come up with crazy stuff, but we're going to skip all of that with something even cooler. So run up these stairs, and this bottom, you can see the light going through the wall. There's this big shadow spot right here from this pillar. Just on the other side of that is this patch of light. We're going to get to the side of the railing that's right by that. Now we're going to aim to the left. So right here I have my dot on the pillar, or pole, whatever. But we're going to throw the spear just to the right of that. So if you want, you can wait till you can see the dot on the left side of the screen and then throw it. And that seems to be a relatively good placement. So after that, we're going to throw another spear on the wall so that we can jump onto that, jump onto this. Now I'm going to jump to the left. There is a piece of like concrete thing that's poking out from the wall. We're going to jump kind of out of bounds behind that. So we're gonna. I'm just gonna hold left and jump, and now I'm out of bounds up here. I'm not actually on that cement pillar, but I'm on something back there out of bounds. So from here, I'm gonna hold left and jump, and partway down her fall, about there, I'm gonna do a bomb boost, and that'll get you on out of bounds on top of the gate. And so from here, we just need to go out of bounds. We already are out of bounds, but we just need to go behind the gate, and that'll trigger the loading screen for the next area. So in full speed, it looks like this, and it really is that simple with those spear placements. There was a much more difficult method of doing this. Instead of jumping off of something out of bounds at the end, we jumped off of a spear, and that spear placement was so precise. It made it so much more difficult to do SS runs. But now with this new method, or newest method, I should say, it's a lot easier. For these areas, you want to avoid jumping as much as possible because just rolling is faster. And so right there, I just rolled across a corner, and we're going to be doing that a lot. For this final area, just find a path that works for you that's as straight as possible and with as few jumps as possible. Now, with this route that I have through this final area, I do it without jumping at all. And for me, that's ideal. And it involves 3 corner rolls, but as you see, I didn't screw it up. So it's not too bad. And even with explanations, that took me 3 minutes. The fastest time without doing that is just barely under 3 minutes. So it really is worth doing this. And you should finish with a time of under 1 minute 20 seconds. Toxic Swamp, there is a cutscene skip right at the beginning. This is relatively new. Initially you had to jump from right about here off of the edge and bomb boost up to where the exploding cabbage thingy is. But now if you just ride the edge of the walking area and roll, you can avoid the cutscene, which this is the cutscene that we're skipping, by the way, because I missed it. And it's worth going for it too, because if you miss it, you just get the cutscene. Before, if you tried to go for it and you missed it, most likely you died, which cost time.
It looks like
So get through here and pretty much just keep rolling on the edge. And I still got it. It would be nice if I could just show it to you.
It looks like Zolo has been through. If my maps are correct, he must be heading to the
There we go. So that skips that cutscene, saves a little bit of time. Now, originally here, to skip this cutscene, we had to throw a spear onto this wall, but apparently you could just jump and bomb boost up, and it's really easy. So for this next spot, to explain what I do is I hold up right on my right stick, and I hold up and left on my left stick, walk forward just a little bit, and fire. And that'll get both gears. With that, it takes just a little bit of practice to get that down. During this cutscene, switch your weapons to your spear, so you can hold left trigger and switch weapons during cutscenes. And it's very useful to do that during non-skippable cutscenes. Roll through these enemies. Try to roll off the edge of that cliff before you fall down to just save a little bit of time. You can roll through the gas, doesn't really do much to you. Jump up on here. Now, you want to get up to the second level. It's easier if you get up onto the third and very easy if you're on the top, but you could do it from here. Just come over to the edge and jump straight up. It's fairly consistent doing it that way. Now, for this, we're going to skip the second gate. And what we want to do is throw a spear relatively far away, around there. You can throw it a little bit closer to you, but for starters anyway, I'd throw it a little bit further out just to make sure you get it. Then throw a second spear about halfway, and that'll get you over here. Now you can do this all with one spear, but I wouldn't recommend it. Then from here you could just hold up, or from where I'm at, just up and a little bit to the left, and that'll get you on top. And if you feel kind of nervous about it, do a bomb boost up, and that'll help ensure it. Now, because we skipped the second gate, this next area isn't exactly loaded correctly, so there should be a bridge up there. And now if you approach that, your game's gonna crash. It's gonna hard lock. The only way to get out of it is to turn off your system. So we need this area to load. So come back here, you have two options. You can, there's this pillar thing right here. If you go past it, that works. Or if you need something else, jump on top of this stone slab right here. What the heck? Normally you could just jump up onto it. There we go. Either one of those works, and it's going to lower the frame rate for the game because it's trying to load this next area when a lot earlier, or like a lot later than what it's supposed to. But you do that, and now the area is loaded. But now we're going to skip the bridge. And right here is kind of a tricky fall. You want to roll at the last second. So just as she starts going down the cliff, do a roll, and that'll let you survive this fall. Then just roll across here. Now you can jump straight up without having to place a spear, but there is actually a very specific spot in the geometry that you can jump straight through it. So if you're feeling ballsy, go ahead and try to jump up, and most likely you'll make it up without a problem like that. And notice how I can't actually get back to, which is kind of cool. But if you are nervous about falling through the map, just place a spear and then you can jump up without a problem. During the loading screen, change weapons. Now from here, we're going to get both gears again. Now after you switch a weapon, make sure you just aim with the stick to pull, just kind of like pull the weapon out once before you do this, because you can't do this in midair until you pull out the weapon for the first time. So from here, we're going to hold up. I actually hold up on the right stick with my left thumb. That way I can press A with my right. But you can actually do this all with your right thumb. But if you just hold up with your left thumb, I mean, it works easier. But just hold straight up. And sometimes it'll fire low like that. We want it to fire up like that. And that last shot would have gotten both gears. And so it just takes a little bit of time to figure it out. And especially when you're explaining things, they become a little bit more difficult too, when you're explaining it instead of just doing it in full motion. Nothing really to say here. We're just rolling to the next area. Now for this next area, I'm going to pause this because I'm going to try to do this really fast. We have, in this next room, we have a big long staircase and we have a ball that's on a rotating thing. As soon as you walk into the room, let the ball get a little bit of momentum and then lob a grenade at it to explode it, and then just try to get it to go straight down the staircase. You're going to have the exploding cabbages that's going to screw it up, but just try to get it to go as straight down as possible and into the fire pit. And depending on like what happens, you need to be very reactive to where, like, if it stops, lob a nade. If the 3-second cooldown for your bombs hasn't happened yet, bombs will lob the ball further. So it just takes a bit of getting used to and figuring out your reaction time for it. So here we go. Let's start moving just a little bit, and then get that down. Just watch out for these spikes. This middle area is really going to screw things up. So sometimes I'll just grab it and roll it like that. Why? Because it goes straight in. It's just that awesome. So that's a very easy way to get this room fast. And then during this cutscene, switch to your spears.
You will soon see the darkness this mirror has shown me.
Now when you're about here, you can throw a spear straight up, and that'll put it on the side of this wall, which we're going to use in just a second. But throw it up from here, go up these stairs, and now we need to pull out these two things. And what we want to do is press B to hold on to it, then pull back, and then let go of B. And these things will actually go by themselves. But make sure that she does her full pulling animation, because if you just do that, it's going to go out really, really slow, and it's not going to make it out all the way. So just make sure she does her full pulling animation, and that'll pull it out all the way with its own momentum. Now from here, I'm going to jump down onto the switch. You can jump to it from here, and at the end of it I'm going to do a roll. This just takes a little bit of practice to get the timing down, but I'm going to roll off of the switch before the cutscene triggers, and I time it off of when she stands up. So after her falling animation, she stands back up, I do a roll there, and then for the ending, just follow this path to get around, and then from this platform just jump up and left to get behind the gate. I kind of got caught on some stuff, but yeah, that works. Flooded Passage is one of my least favorite levels to do. So it's kind of straightforward. For here, you want to keep rolling and hopefully make it through without those spears or these arrow traps stopping you, which usually happens. I got pretty lucky there. Once you roll up here, pull out your light spear just to kill this guy, just to get him out of the way. Now, you can skip this next spot. Let's make sure that guy's dead. Now, you can skip the spears by jumping on top of this. Whoops, I placed this bomb. I didn't mean to. If you jump on top of this and throw a spear right around there, if I get it, you can actually jump across this, but for SS runs, I don't recommend it unless you get used to it. So really, I would just do this normally, pull this out, and I placed 2 spears, or just one into the center, and then just time it. Roll up here, dodge the arrow traps as best as you can, and pull out your nade launcher. If you get right here, you can just lob a nade over to the right. If you're in between these two, you're going to have to jump and do it, and it'll have the same reaction. They're both like 99% accurate. For here, come over here, pull out a spear, and just throw it. It doesn't matter where, just throw it, and that'll allow you to do this bomb boost. For some reason in the game's coding, to get the bomb boost to work correctly, you need to be able to, you need to have thrown a spear for some unknown reason. It's kind of dumb. Alright, for this next room, we're going to, as soon as we enter, we're going to go straight forward. We're going to push the ball, and it's going to be like the things that we pulled from Toxic Swamp. This guy's bugging the crap out of me. Die. So we're going to push the ball just enough so that it has full momentum, then let it go and let it roll the rest of the way. Then we're going to run and pull the piston. The ball pushing is to get rid of the arrow traps from hitting you. And then the big guy that spawns in there, hopefully we can pull the piston fast enough. If he charges you, he might hit you. That's okay. From there, just recover and pull the piston because he's got a recovery time and you should be able to pull the piston fast enough. So here's what it looks like. And this is not something that you can really do in full speed, so get that going. If he swipes at you like that, that's like ideal because now he's just going to walk. And then from here, just get out. Easy enough. For this next spot, lay a bomb next to the switch, and then we're going to kind of skip this puzzle. Get a running start, and you can jump over those spikes. Once you pass the second set of spikes, detonate your bomb, and you're good to go. Easy enough. I'm actually kind of lower on health than where I want to be. Where's the health? It's in one of these pots. There we go. So if you need health, it's in that pot. But when you're doing this thing at full speed, you shouldn't have to worry about your health. But we're going to be doing a lot of bomb boosts. So in this area, pretty much you can just follow my path. I don't really need to explain it, but come up here, bomb boost over. You don't have to worry about exploding the those traps. Now here's where you need the heavy nade launcher. Come over here and lob a nade between the second and the third spike. And with that, that'll detonate the switch to let you through. And then either lay a bomb or lob another nade at those. Then from here, pull out your spears, throw one, and jump this corner to get over here. This jump is a little bit difficult because it's a funky angle, but just with a little bit of practice, you'll get it. And then the rest of the level you just play out as normal. Now if you happen to be extremely low on health, don't worry about it. Most likely you're not going to get hit in this final section. Just keep moving and you'll be fine. And I say that and I get hit. That's kind of funny. Ah! That was weird. I got caught on the ball. Don't do that. So if you die, you spawn back up here. So anyway, just keep rolling down. Those gaps, you can actually roll over the gaps without jumping and survive. Wait for this ball. You can kind of ride the ball's ass, but be very careful because you could die from doing that. Roll to the end, and we're done. Jaws of Death. Okay, let's see if I can explain this as best as I can. Most runs of this level are between 1 minute 23 seconds and 1 minute 28 seconds. I'm going to try to explain this as best as I can to get you a consistent 124, if not faster. So, the beginning is kind of straightforward. Just hold up and right and just keep rolling. The biggest thing that we need to do here is blow up the bridges that are perpendicular to the bridge that I'm running across. So it's right behind Zolot is that bridge.
Time to run!
So anyway, there's the fish. The first bomb we want to drop is right there, in between those two things. I'm just going to die because this is going to be hard to explain the locations of all these with the fish chasing me. So the first one is in between those two exploding cabbages, and that'll explode the entire first bridge. The second one, we want to brush up against that exploding cabbage and lay a bomb to blow up that exploding cabbage. This next one, we want to hit both the left pillar there and the exploding cabbage, which this fish is... gets really difficult to explain with the fish right there. And exploding these things lets the fish move at a much greater rate, so it doesn't have to explode these things. So now I get to show you everything in full speed. So do that, do that. Now it looks like I'm kind of wasting time, but this actually gets the fish to move, and we really need that. And okay, that bomb was a little bit too far down, but it was close enough. For here, we're gonna do a bomb boost. And ideally you want to be able to roll out of the bomb boost, but I'm not too sure what triggers that. So I got the medium way of doing it, but it's kind of hard to explain. Watch out for these traps, they'll kind of screw you up. Again, do a bomb boost here to get across so you don't have to do the climbing thing. The rest of the level is kind of straightforward. With this one is kind of like the last one. Place a bomb about there and it explodes the entire bridge. And then if done correctly, you should be pulling this piston just as the fish gets there. And then from there just wait for the door to start going down, then hop through it. And if you do all of that in one shot and do it correctly, it will pretty much guarantee you a 124. I have not gotten higher than a 124 ever since I started doing this. The current record for this is 118 using that method, so I don't know where those 6 seconds are coming from, but yeah, that just gives you the idea of what to do. Twisting bridge. This, I'm going to show you the old method of doing this level that has the previous record time, because the newest record time uses a very, very, very difficult jump. So it's not exactly recommended for SS runs. So come down here, throw a spear against this piece of wall. Then we're going to jump onto the wall and tap your hook to get on top. From here, we're going to jump on top of the entrance, do a bomb boost. It's a pretty easy jump from there. So get up here. Now we're out of bounds. Roll over here. We need to do another bomb boost to get across this gap. For some reason, crossing that gap, she doesn't like dropping her bomb sometimes, so I would just recommend just mashing that button until the explosion happens. But once we're out of bounds, now we can go straight to the end. Kind of. On co-op, you can actually get straight onto the bridge, but on single player, you can't. Or not the bridge, the staircase at the end. So from here, if you do this fast, you don't have to worry about enemies, but I'm going to kill this guy. For single segments, you want to place a spear about here. Now I say about because it's kind of hard to explain right about where you need to have it, and you'll see why in a second, why it needs to be placed there. So anyway, jump over below that spear, do a bomb boost just to confirm that you're here. Now you want to be as high as possible so you can walk up this rock right here. This spot right here for me was actually very difficult on PS3. On Xbox it's easy because she's staying up there. So hold up and right on both sticks and then throw a spear. Get up on here, just press A, and then press A again to get up on here. Now this is the trickiest jump of the entire level, is pretty much just hold up and jump, and you'll land on here, which is why that spear placement is very, very important. Once you're up here though, things are pretty easy. You can jump straight up onto the platform and bomb boost, but I find that to be sometimes a little inconsistent. So throw a spear and jump, and that just kind of confirms that you'll make it up. Then for this final section, if you roll about right there, you shouldn't get hit by balls. I don't know why I just got hit by that one. That was really weird. But you can just go back and forth just a little bit to dodge these. Wow, okay. I'm getting pelted by balls. This is really interesting. But anyway, that's the best line to go up. So you don't have to constantly go left and right. You can kind of just go straight up. Alright. That's Twisting Bridge. Fiery Depths is a pain in the ass. I really hate this level. Skip this cutscene. Try to get this jump before the text box appears, and then go forward. And that doing it like that is very kind of risky. You can wait a second just to confirm that those fire traps go away, but you can get across by doing that. A little shortcut on the staircase, just come down here and then jump straight up, and you can land down here. Now if you land far enough down that staircase, these fire traps will not be triggered, but if they trigger, notice how much time I have. From here, another little shortcut, just jump straight down onto this corner, which is easy enough. Jump from about here down to here, otherwise you'll get stuck on the railing. So it's a pretty easy jump, just don't get stuck on the railing. Now we're going to skip this required fight. I typically lay a bomb just to knock that guy down, but throw a spear on here, jump on top of it, and jump over. Now from here, you want to fall right next to the fire pit. The reason being, if you don't do that, this loading zone will not load. So yeah, we need to hit a loading trigger for a loading zone, which I find really funny. So for these, we have these switches that will alter the direction of these fire traps. We're going to try to avoid all of them as much as possible, which is all of them. So for this one, you do a bomb boost to get across there. This next section you need to do relatively quickly. Jump, grapple for a second, fall, you'll be okay, and then roll through those traps. I almost did that so fast that I would run into the first set of traps. If you do this fast enough, you can actually roll fast enough to get the front trap. I've done that like 2 or 3 times during SS runs, which is kind of annoying. But for the most part, if you just roll, you'll time it fine. And if you want to be safe, you can wait and actually sit there for a second and time it. This next section, it's kind of hard to explain while doing it at full speed. And if I wait a second, it screws up the fire traps. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to avoid hitting every single possible switch. I think there's 2, maybe 3 switches, but I'm going to avoid all of them. And the first jump, which goes behind a fire trap, is a little bit tricky. So I'm just going to explain it now and you'll see how I do it. You get to the bottom of the first platform and then jump at an angle behind the fire trap, and that'll get you across. Now, ideally, you'll jump all the way over to the second platform without grabbing the edge. If you grab the edge, that's okay. Just make sure you climb up really quick and get your jump in for the next jump, because it will be somewhat tight timing. And to practice this, there's a checkpoint right here that you can load. So here we go. From the bottom, jump over. Damn it. But as you can see, that fire trap is going right there. So you need to be really quick about it. But anyway. Okay, sometimes you can land on the platform with the fire trap. That's kind of annoying. I don't expect it, so I died there. There we go. But see how you have to be really quick? What? That doesn't make any sense. So now I'm gonna throw a spear. Okay. This bomb boost is actually really simple. I don't know why I'm not getting it. But as you can see, I'm getting this jump pretty consistent now. There we go. And then from there, you just jump off and roll over. But just like a lot of things that I keep screwing up in this tutorial, it's a lot more consistent when you're doing things at full speed. So now we're going to skip this fight again, but skipping a fight again. Throw a spear, get up here. Watch out for those fireballs because they will give you knockback. And then you need to jump down here at somewhat of an angle. There's an invisible wall that can prevent you. Jeez, fuck off. There's an invisible wall right here that you kind of have to jump around. But once you do that, a couple times, it's not too bad. Quickly run down here so that you can get to these platforms as they're rotating so you can jump on them. For these final two, if they're not rotated to where you can jump on them immediately, you can just do a bomb boost. So there's Fiery Depths. Belly of the Beast. It is possible on Xbox only to get 15 seconds. On PS3 you can get a very low 16, and on PC you can get a 17. But on a standard run, if you get a 17, that's pretty ideal. The reason that this is only possible to get 15 on Xbox is right there. The dino charges. And because of that you can kill them just a hair faster. So, I mean, if you want you want actual comparisons, the Xbox record is 0.1 seconds faster than the PS3 record. So, and that's the difference between a 16 and a 15. And that's really what that looks like, the Belly of the Beast on a standard SS run. That's what it looks like. So 17 is a decent time. If you get 18, you're just a little slow. If you get 16, you did pretty good. If you get 15... great job, dude. That's amazing. You're now the third person ever to do it. Because only 2 people have managed to get a 15 seconds. And yes, I am one of them. The other is the Silver Lord. Stronghold Passage is a little bit different from before. So thanks to Fatalis for figuring this out. If you want to be just a bit safe, kill this guy with a light spear. So just hold up and right trigger during the cutscene. So before we wanted to explode that pot, run up here, and come up on this bridge to place a spear on the wall to get behind the bridge, behind the gate, similar to Forgotten Gate. But now we can place that spear from a different location. So this is typically the second spear that we place, but now it's our first. So place that down. Sometimes she does not want to jump on it. Thank you. Jump up onto the wall. Now, I have to explain everything in words because I can't show you, obviously. I have a stupid staircase in the way. From here, I press up on the stick just a little bit to make sure she's as far up against the wall as possible, which makes her as high as possible. From here, I'm going to hold down right on the right stick and throw a spear. Now that one actually hit the wall, so I'm going to rotate down just a little bit, and as you can see it's missing the pillar. So if you want to practice this, throw it down and right and purposely miss this pillar so that it flies right next to it, and then slowly rotate the stick counterclockwise until your spears hit the pillar, and that's where your spear wants to be. Then you can just run over underneath, press A, you'll get up on top of it. From here, just hold up and right and jump, and you should get through. Oh wait, I think I'm doing this wrong actually, even though I failed it. I think you just hold right from this placement now. My bad. This is relatively new for me. I suck, guys. There we go. That was what? That spear placement was kind of weird. And anyway, I'm recording this live on Twitch, and thankfully I do have Fatalist in my chat right now. Woo! So that really does help. He can help me out with this. So anyway, get up against the wall, throw the spear down. I didn't hear the click. Alright. Hold straight right. What? Why is this not working? This was easy. When I did this for the first time, it worked and it was great. Oh, come on. Oh, yay, and he explained something else from earlier. So I was talking about like when you land from a bomb boost, that ideally you want to roll as fast as possible. Don't mash your roll button, just press it once as soon as you land. And it's possible to do it while mashing, but it's not not as consistent. But this is really weird. I don't know how I can get higher. But this is supposed to be really consistent, and it was. Like many things in many games. Please. Oh my gosh, game, please. At least I was able to salvage that. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Alright, so it's not straight right. It's actually right and a little bit up. I knew I was placing the spear right. That just didn't make any sense that I wasn't getting the clip. So anyway, yeah, you place the... Oh, wow, I thought my game froze for a second. That took forever for this text box to load. So anyway, yeah, from that spear, so I explained everything correctly with that spear placement. It's so hold straight to the right and just a little bit up. For these fire traps, they're completely random, so just dodge them as best as you can. You can wow. You can roll... you can corner roll between two fire traps. Alright, the second set of fire traps you can just roll straight through. For this final area, just keep as straight as possible. There's 2 required jumps. One is right there with all 4 of those down, and then at the end you get a nice jump. So easy enough. Now, because I was explaining and failing a hell of a lot, that took me 5 minutes. But still, look at the goal time is 15. This is still faster than doing the level normally. And ideally, you'll finish this level around 1 minute. Mirror's Wake, you have 2 options. And one of them I personally don't like because it's not consistent for me. But that's using this ball right here to get out of bounds. So just like in the second level, Temple Grounds, you're going to place a bomb here and wait 3 seconds for the cooldown, and then climb up, do a double bomb jump, and then jump and get out of bounds. So this is ideally what's going to happen. Now from here, you need to be careful because there's a lot of places where you can fall out of bounds. So I would say be cautious with several spots like that. Throw a spear there. For the second spot, you need to jump there. There's a spot around here that you can fall in, so jump there. You have to jump there. And from here, you're fine. So then we're down here, and then we can finish off the level. So I'll explain from there to the end in just a second. Now I'm going to show you a little bit more of a consistent method. Now I like how I say that's not consistent, I get it first try, and everything else that I've said that's consistent, it takes me like 5 hours to get. But I mean, I guess that's what happens when you do tutorials, just everything screws up. So anyway, we're going to come over this way. And just like in, shoot, what level was it? Toxic Swamp. We're going to walk down this cliff just a little bit and roll. This one's really easy to do. You could probably just walk down. But anyway, we're down at a later part of the level now. Step onto this rock, throw a spear. That way we can confirm that we can jump onto the spear and get up. You can climb up into this railing and then just walk this way. Otherwise, if you don't get the grab underneath the railing, you'll climb up here and then you can't get over. So it's going to force you to go all the way around. So you want to grab it underneath the railing. Then from here, I like to come down into this spot just a little bit. It's a little bit of a lower spot for her to stand and to throw the spear, but it confirms that you're going to get this jump onto the spear. Now from here, we need to hold to the right and a little bit down to jump up onto this wall, and then jump. As soon as you land, jump again and you'll get up on top. So this is how you get out of bounds, and this spot takes a little bit of practice to get, but it's really, really consistent, especially compared to that ball. Now for here, I'm gonna see if I could trigger it. I've done it before. Please game, can you work with me here? Hey, there we go. Okay, so on occasion you'll get this invisible wall that prevents you from going over. The way to get around that is to throw a spear and then jump over. Ideally, you don't want that invisible wall, but if it happens to be there, that's how you get through. Okay, so now this is the same exact spot that I left off from the ball method. So from here to the end is exactly the same. So hop up on here, throw a spear right about there, jump up onto it, jump up the wall. And you, from about here on up, you can walk. But if you get below there, you just fall straight down. So that's why we need to place a spear to get up here. So come up here. And we're going to roll to the end. So you're going to want to walk right here, and then it's kind of awkward to explain that angle that you have to walk to get down here. It's up and left, but just kind of go to the area and walk up and left, and then you'll see how it works. So now there's like a statue thing that's holding a torch or something like that. That's right around here. If you want to be safe, you could just do this, do a bomb boost over to it, but you don't really have to. You could just run and jump, but it's a little bit tighter. Sometimes you'll land on the side of this thing that you'll have to jump up, but that's okay. The reason that you don't want to do a bomb boost there, that it's better anyway, is that you can, as soon as you land here, you can immediately run and jump and do the final jump. If you do a bomb boost, you have to wait just a second to make sure that you get the full 3-second cooldown before you can do another bomb boost. And so the final jump is very tricky. And so I'm going to explain it as best as I can to confirm that you're going to end the level. So what we're going to do, what's going to happen is we're going to die and trigger the ending sequence at the same exact time. And I'm not talking like frame perfect, I'm just talking in a window of the same time. And we want the ending to trigger before the death. So the way that I found that this is most consistent is run down left from where I'm standing now, jump, and as soon as she starts to fall from her jump, do a bomb boost. And as soon as the cutscene triggers, mash your B button or whatever you use to skip the cutscenes, and that'll trigger the ending. If you die, it's going to trigger a loading screen, and if you have vibrations on your controller will vibrate. But ideally, we don't want to die, because if we die, that's going to set you back to your most recent checkpoint. Now, what checkpoint is that? Well, if you did the ball method, that's the beginning of the level. If you did the secondary method, that's going to be before we did the roll down the cliff to the out of bounds area. Unless when you climbed up the spear, the very first spear that we threw, and you didn't climb up into the railing, you had to go around the railing, there's a checkpoint there. So keep that in mind about this, and especially with this being the second to last level, it really is kind of annoying. But anyway, run down left, just as she starts falling, do a bomb boost, and skip the cutscene, and then you're done. It's with doing that, it's really, really consistent for me. Now, I guess I should say that this is not the IL version of this level. Doing this can get you, I think, a 45-second time if you do it perfectly. But there is a method that can shave off another 10 seconds. However, it is extremely difficult, and the person that has that time, I think, will admit that you don't want to do that in a single segment run of this game. Unless you're really just that ballsy, but I'm not. So I'm not going to include it in this. So here we are with the last level. There's really not much to explain. So throughout this game, we've used spears, light spear, and the heavy grenade launcher. This is now the time that we use either the railgun or the weapon of your choice. I use the golden shotgun just because it makes one section a little bit more consistent, but if you want to do this as fast as possible, get the railgun as your other weapon. Alright, so these opening spikes are exactly the same. So it's really easy and consistent to do it this way. Just wait for him to come. And wait a second, and then throw a spear. Wow, that was really rare that a freaking spike trap spawned right in front of, right below me. But throw 2 quick spears. Come right here onto this square. Reason being, you can kill those spiders relatively quickly. You're in the corner now. Wow, that was weird. Lob a grenade down and then straight to the right for this. So again, we're right in the corner. And then we're a nice distance away from these spiders to make sure we can get those. Now this next section is really flippin' annoying because it's completely random. So if you want a little bit of a consistent way to make sure you survive, just stand on one spike trap square and wait for the blue thing to appear underneath you. There we go. And then from there, just run. Oh my god, game! Seriously, holy shit, that was close. And so from there, just go to a safe square. If you want something that you can do, as soon as the blue thing appears beneath you, pause the game and use your short-term memory to remember what was open around you, which gives you a little bit extra time to think. And if you need to, you can unpause and pause really quick, kind of like that, and that'll give you another screen capture in your mind of where you can go. So for this spot at the end, lob some nades, kill those guys, put a bomb right there, and wait. And the next weapon we'll need is the light spear. Now you can put the bomb closer to the spike trap, but it's really whatever. So from here, when I jump the next gap, Zola is actually already spawned, and you'll see his health appear in just a second. So as soon as I jump over, I'm going to lob a bunch of spears towards his location. And that location is just kind of up and right. And hopefully 2 spears connect. If 2 spears connect, that means you're going to skip a phase and save, I don't know, 3 seconds. Otherwise, he'll just spawn elsewhere. So there we go, got him. Otherwise, from here, he'll just fly up into the air, and then he'll appear out of a smoke thingy. So from this next section, it's the trigger is these skeleton guys. So you want to kill them as fast as possible. Now this is a spot right there where the railgun will really help. If you have a full relic meter, that means you're going to have scatter shot. So if you have the railgun, it can kill Zola in one shot if you're at point blank range. So with what I just did there is a fairly consistent way of killing all of the skeletons. If Fatalist is still around, he could probably help me confirm this. I believe there's 5 of them. It's either 4 or 5 that you have to kill. And the best way to kill them, explosions. So just pull out your heavy rocket launcher and spam it. In all directions, really. I'm not too sure how to explain where they are, but if you've copied exactly what I just did, then that'll work. And pretty much if you see a skeleton, lob a nade at him. Alright, so once this area is done, you don't have to worry about these enemies. If you can keep your relic meter all the way up, that'll help.
You will not stop me. This world will be consumed by my power.
Okay, I just got confirmation it's 4 that you need to kill. So for this next section, you don't need to really worry about your ammo. If you're really low, as soon as you land here, you have a lot of time. So when you land, it triggers this cutscene. He flies away. And so you can come over here, grab that ammo. You can even grab that ammo and come up here and wait for those balls to fall. I would recommend using the light spear here to do 2 quick shots. Now here's why I use the golden shotgun, is from this section. Especially with the full relic meter. Wow, that ball just blocked all those shots. But anyway, just go back and forth, kind of spamming shots to kill these guys as quickly as possible. And that was relatively good. Oh, and I guess I'll just show you why the railgun is worth it. So the railgun's right here. It's got the highest weapon power. So here you want to dodge these things. I know there's some kind of glitch to where you can just stand and not take any damage, but I don't remember what it is. But anyway, just run around, wait for him to spawn. So look for his cloud, and hopefully get up to like point blank range. So try to get the camera to view the whole arena. Alright, so now he's going to spawn at some point, and hopefully I could show you how to one-shot him. And why the railgun could be useful. So there he is, point blank range, one shot. Kills him. So that's why that could be useful. But for me, for SS runs, I use the shotgun. Now, you can pause the game and switch weapons like that. But, I don't know. I typically don't like changing weapons. So this is my setup anyway for those. But anyway, there's the final boss and final cutscene. Skip it. And there's your level. Now, in terms of timing for this game, because I can, on Xbox, I don't know how this works on PC, but I do know for Xbox and PS3. On Xbox, I can actually start the next level before this results screen even appears. So I can go to the next level before I even see the final time for the level. So for RTA, it would be faster to do it that way. However, on PS3, for some levels, I have to view the entire results screen before I can do anything on PS3. On some levels, I have to wait about 20 seconds before I can do anything. And that includes restarting the level, exiting the game, or continuing on to the next level. So, because of that, all the runners have agreed that we'll use in-game time. It's relatively accurate, especially doing single segments. It's accurate for our purposes anyway. I did explain a little bit earlier with segmented runs, you can kind of manipulate the timer just a little bit, but for SS runs, we're not going to be abusing that at all. So yeah, we're going to use in-game timer, so you can stay on this screen for as long as you need to. So if you want to have like a timer up that you punch in times to see what, compare that to your best and stuff like that, you can take the time to do that. As long as you do the whole game in one sitting, we'll consider an SS run. But if you're sitting at this spot for like 10 minutes, that almost seems like you're practicing the next level. So, I mean, don't sit here forever. But yeah, so that's the entire game. So let's see if I can go through and explain each level, goal times that you want to get. So Temple of Light, you want to get low 3 minutes, probably about like between 3:10 and 3:20 would be really, really good. If you get between 3:20 and 3:30, that's fine. Remember, this time was achieved by segmenting. My time, my best time, 2:39. That was achieved by segmenting the run, so don't go for this time. Temple Grounds, if you get sub-minute, you're doing really good. This time, I believe, is actually, I got this time using the left ball, not the right one that I showed. So I would recommend using the right one to get that quicker. Spider Tomb, if you get into the 130s, you're doing really good. If 140s are fine as well. The summoning, you want to shoot for 7 seconds. If you get 8, that's not the worst thing in the world. If you get 6, awesome job. Forgotten Gate, just you want to shoot for sub 120. Toxic Swamp, I'm not too sure what a good goal time would be. I would say sub 4 minutes, but really just go for as fast as time as possible, then see what you think from there. Flooded Passage, if you get sub 210, I think that's a pretty good time. Jaws of Death, like I said when I was explaining the whole thing, you should be able to get a sub 124 consistently by blowing up the bridges, as I showed. Twisting Bridge, you want to get sub 120, I think would be a good time to shoot for. Fiery Depths, probably sub 210, maybe 215 would be good. Belly of the Beast, a 17 seconds is kind of average, 16 is really good, and fucking amazing if you pull off a 15. Like I said, you'll be the 3rd person to ever do that. For Stronghold Passage, if you get sub-minute, you're doing really good. I would say sub 110 would be pretty good for an SS run. Mirror's Wake, you just want to get sub 1 minute. I think would be a good time. And Zealot Stronghold, you should be able to get around a 430. I think would be the ideal time. Getting 423 like this is pretty much perfect luck. This time was actually achieved before we knew about the killing the 4 skeletons. So I could probably get sub 420 now with that knowledge. So anyway, there is Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light speedrun walkthrough. Hopefully this helped some of you guys that want to run the game. If you have any questions, feel free to PM me. I'm sure Fatalist would be more than willing to help you out as well. There's a thread on SDA, so if you go to Speed Demos Archive and look in the forums and do a search, you'll find the thread that's got some stuff there, and you can ask questions there. So anybody who's monitoring that will help you out. So again, thanks for watching, guys. That's it for now.